Welcome everyone to the Planning Commission meeting of, what's the date? 16th? 16th, November 16th, killing it right out of the gate. November 16th, 2023. On new business, just an update on the special meeting. I know they're checking the candidates' references that we spoke to. I don't know anything more than that. Maybe I'll bug Brad after this.
I just asked him, that's why.
Oh, that's all he said.
When they said they're in the select board meeting, I said, they're gonna talk about the new hire, and he goes, no, they're checking his background.
I know the first hour of the last week's
done.
select board meeting was an interview. So once I guess, they liked him, so they're having to check the references and whatnot. So.
Wouldn't they check the references before they even interviewed him?
No, they didn't. All they do is a pre-screen. Jennifer does a pre-screen, which is those questions, answers are sent around, but no, I don't think they checked anything. So, no public here, so no public comment. Well, wait, does anyone else have anything else?
I do. I actually have something that I think we need to address. It's not totally related to non-conforming lots, but it has to do with, like I've been working with the guy across the street who's building that house, and he has that lot is kind of an odd lot, and it has a building envelope, and you went through this. Yeah. So, and then I got talking to him, and he's like, yeah, I want to have a garage one someday. And he said, where can I put it? And I said, well, you're kind of restricted here. There is a place for it, but you can't. When they gave Mike Moore the subdivision permit, they determined there was a wildlife corridor, okay, and that you couldn't build beyond that. Mm-hmm. So does that mean you can't build an accessory structure or accessory dwelling unit beyond that? Because you went through this when you got your barn permit, because you had a designated building envelope, right?
I did, but I did go through this, yes, and I got my building envelope. The town actually, Andrew recommended that I just make it huge. I just wanted to expand.
But he made it huge.
But he made it huge, so I never had to deal with it.
He made it huge for you. It wasn't ever. It was never when they did your subdivision. They never put that should be in the deed that you have to build it within the building envelope.
That's not in the deed.
Or not in the deed, no, but in the subdivision in the subdivision determination in your paperwork.
But what I didn't have was I plead ignorance. I don't even know I don't know what the wildlife corridor is in the zoning.
No, you didn't have. You're not. That's a different thing for you. But you had a building envelope.
I did, and we had to get it expanded, and Charlie had to come out with the DRB. I had to fill out an application.
Oh, okay.
With the DRB, and the DRB came out, looked at it, made sure I was doing the setbacks enough from the property lines, and then Andrew told me that just so I never had to deal with it again. Because I had put in a request just to make it where I wanted the barn, and he was like, well, why don't you just make it big as you can?
Yeah, 20 feet from the property line all the way around.
So that's what it is.
Yeah, okay. Because that's how they had been doing subdivisions, but this one's kind of particular because they didn't want anybody to build on the other side of the power line because there's a wildlife corridor there. But if he comes back like 10 years down the road and wants to get a permit for an accessory dwelling unit, and he wants to put it far, on the other side of the power line in that in that corridor, he can't do that because he has to go through the process like you did. He had to go to the DRB
You got to do the whole deal. It's like a $100 and you have to fill out this thing.
All right, I got it. Yeah.
You do a drawing of where you want to go.
Yeah. So there is a process you have to follow that is in place.
There's a process that will say this is very easy as long as you weren't trying to break. Like I wasn't trying to. I'm sure if you're trying to go make it bigger than you should because of setbacks or something, then the DRB. But for mine, it was easy because I was just following all the rules.
Right.
They just came out, measured, done.
Yeah. Okay. Because when he builds his garage, he can build it anywhere within the lot that's not in that wildlife corridor.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because it's just kind
Does he have a building envelope there?
The house is the building envelope.
It's
Just
tiny.
the house.
Yeah.
There's no space beyond the house.
Mine was the same way. It was
Like 10 feet, or it's kind of, there's only really one good place for the house to begin with, and that's where the building envelope is. So
So is there a good place for the garage?
kinda, yeah, maybe.
Kinda.
Yeah, it's kind of quirky, but I don't think he's thought it all through, so.
Good thing he's got an expert advisor to help him cite.
Well, I mean, I haven't charged him yet, so it's free advice. Yeah.
What was the default on your lot? Did it just go back to the setbacks for your building wall?
Yeah, Andrew Stern, the old, Andrew Stern, he said, zoning administrator. Mr. Misbank, I always mispronounce his name. But he just said, yeah, I'm just gonna take it. We have wetlands, so he just went up to the setbacks where that was applicable, or right up to where you could go to the wetlands, and just made it that big. I mean, I have no intention of putting anything else.
Tim, typically when there's a subdivision, like they'll put building envelopes where the houses should be. And they tend to kind of be a little more strict about those building envelopes, but it was a single family lot, they might be more generous.
But now they,
Building envelope.
like my subdivision where my house is, they made the building envelope pretty much the whole lot. So, because that's what the DRB wants at this point.
They don't want people coming back to change their building envelope.
Exactly.
They would like
It's
to
just-
give them as much,
Yeah, right, as long as it's
Money and
sensible.
time.
yeah.
But so, wait, I had another question. Oh, yeah, and then the other thing is, we have nothing in our regulations about wildlife corridors. And the DRB decided that
I
this,
don't know that. We don't, you
I
would, or-
believe we don't. I mean,
No,
we-
it's in the plan, in the town plan.
yeah, but so the DRB is basing their decision on this subdivision
Mhm.
on a wildlife corridor that's not actually in our regulations.
But it's in the town plan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
still,
in the
that doesn't
town plan,
matter
but
because it's not in the.
But it's not a shall either.
But is it coming from is the town plan capturing something from the state?
No, this is something that Underhill itself is pushing through.
But it's not in the bylaws, the zoning bylaws, which it should
No.
be, because that's what the DRB is
I don't want
following
it
when
in
they
the
do a
bylaws.
subdivision. What's that?
I do not want it in the bylaws myself. There's
So-
enough in the bylaws already.
So how can they make a decision based on this presumed wildlife corridor? If we don't have a regulation that,
Where is the lot you're talking about? Is this across from where you are? on
yeah, Mike
Pleasant Hill?
Morris
Has
lot.
he subdivided that more than once? Isn't that
Yeah.
like a multiple subdivision he's
Well,
done there?
kind of, yeah. He
Yeah,
sold
he's done
some
it more
land to
than
the
once.
neighbor, and then he came back and subdivided again.
Yeah,
He didn't
so
really
he's,
approach it very well.
no, so I think he may have created his own hardship in terms of being able to do more of what he wants. Because he subdivided that more than once, and then he did stuff over here, then he did stuff over there. Then he
So
had to create a creative driveway so he can stay within the limits of,
the grade and all, which he could have
yeah.
done. It
So
would've been-
wildlife corridor, it's probably because it's up higher, and he's even going higher.
No, it goes down in, and he had a great building spot way back in there, but the DRB decided that he couldn't build back in there because of this wildlife corridor.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
like,
gonna
wait a
have a
minute,
hard time.
what's a wildlife corridor? I don't see anything in the bylaws about a wildlife
You
corridor.
don't ever
The
do?
mapping, maybe mapping gets into
I know,
that.
Yeah, but they've never even
Yeah,
done a
who's
study.
the authority that sets up a wildlife
Well,
corridor?
as I understand
You
it,
know,
in
what
the-
sort of liberalities are involved there? Are the deer just going through there,
they have
And
to
they'll
assess.
move around a little bit too, so.
Roy, in
more
my
of it can
job-
change, actually.
In my job, I'm gonna get on top of this for you, and I'm gonna talk to Brad Holden.
I was gonna talk to
Answer
him,
for
but
next meeting.
I never got around to it. So yeah, that's a good idea.
I'll talk to him.
But then the
Part
other-
of what was on the agenda was trying to think about the next things we want on the agenda for the next few meetings, so.
That'll be
Yeah, and we haven't addressed cannabis either, so I think that should probably.
Cannabis?
Yeah, that should be on the
Address what?
agenda. What's that?
Pot, cannabis.
Oh, cannabis.
Come on, you know what that is, David, please.
Timer, don't do that.
You see David driving around with a low pouring out of his window.
What cannabis?
All right, all
We're being
right.
recorded here. We're being
This is
silly.
really getting off track.
Oh, yeah, it is. I tend to confuse things.
No, this is good. We have 2 items for later, so we'll come up with more. David, do you want to take it away on non-conforming lots?
Okay, so you had a question.
So my question was, this was a conversation you and I had
Right.
a while ago.
Yeah.
What is there an extra?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh, yeah.
So if
It's only
there's,
half a page.
the town allows you to combine if they're contiguous lots for tax purposes,
Mhm.
correct?
If you buy the lot next to you, you
Or
combine
if,
it.
if you own contiguous lots,
Yeah.
the
Well, you
town
can
lets,
always combine.
the town allows you to combine, yeah, or they do for tax purposes. But my understanding is based on what we talked about, if a non-conforming lot is a contiguous to other non-conforming lots, that's too bad. It is what it is. You can't do anything else with it.
Wait a minute, so
Wait a minute, no, if the deeds go back before March 2nd, 2011.
Yeah.
And they have not changed since then they remain as separate lots. And they can be sold separately and developed separately.
If they can have water and sewer.
Yeah, if it meets these 5 different conditions here. And
So
and
like
then
the deed would describe them as lot 1, lot 2, and lot 3 type of thing. The deed actually describes them as separate lots.
before
Oh, yeah, way
March 2nd.
before.
Yeah.
Way before. Yeah.
So, and there are separate deeds for them?
It's all one deed, all described as lots 1, 2, and 3.
I don't know about that. That's interesting.
Do you know this exact?
This is an actual case, or you're saying hypothetically this is how it works?
No, I'm asking in
Oh,
the
okay.
situation where,
Yeah. I don't think so. I think they have to be,
because they're non-conforming. This is actually my property.
yeah.
So, and I'm not saying I'm gonna develop it, but
But it
I'm
was-
using it as a
So
question
how
because
does
we
it
talked about.
work like?
It was
So-
subdivided and accepted as a subdivision?
Never was subdivided. No, it was never subdivided. It was all picked up at different times. So here's my house on the corner of Corbett Road and Walbrook Lane. My
Yeah.
house, acre and a half.
Yeah.
But across here,
Yep.
over here on the corner, the other side of Corbett Road and Walbrook Lane, I have lot 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And actually, I think this is only half an acre. This is 1.5 acre on this side.
Is that where the mailbox?
You know what?
No, the mailboxes are here. And if you went towards the Corbett Road, you went down Corbett Road, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those lots are on the side.
Oh, I see, okay, I know.
Yeah, so here's Walbrook Lane, here's Corbett Road.
Gotcha.
I have an answer to this because I asked Andrew about this probably 10 years, or
Yeah.
8 years ago or whatever, because I had this same question come up with somebody else I was working with, Pat Allen.
Yeah.
Because she owned the land across the street from her
Yeah,
house.
she did.
And
Well,
I
the
said-
town highway subdivided it.
Yeah, so but I don't know if Corbett Road is a town highway, it's a private road.
Corbett Road's a town highway, but the Corbett Road's not subdividing our property, Walbrook Lane is.
Oh,
That's a
Walbrook
private
Lane,
road.
so
Yeah,
that's a private road.
No, and Underhill doesn't always accept that either. The
But
town
it-
highway automatically subdivides your property.
But
Depends
but
on it.
as Andrew explained it to me, and probably some other zoning administrator would explain it differently, that when the highway divides your lot into 2
town
lots.
highway.
A town highway.
It's
right?
an
There's another-
automatic
There's
subdivision.
another one over by the central school.
Yep.
That lot across the street, even if it's non-conforming, you can build on it as long as you meet all the other requirements. So-
Water sewer, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So-
that doesn't always, that's a state regulation, but towns don't necessarily follow through with the same regulations.
But if we don't have anything I think we don't have anything in our regulations about that. So perhaps
Well-
that's something that, because that's another thing when I
It's been
was,
challenged, I'll put it that way. It's been challenged.
so you challenged it.
No.
No.
No, I have
Somebody
no
else had.
desire to do this. I'm using my property as an example. My property's not gonna be subdivided or built on.
Right, okay.
None of that. I'm just using it as an example because we have 3 contiguous lots, all non-conforming, because it's 10-acre zoning up there where I live.
So
Yeah,
I think if it's all under one deed, basically, then,
Described
and
as
it hasn't
separate lots.
been, and it hasn't been, been through a subdivision process, then I think it is just as one lot, basically.
Even though it's deeded as 3 separate lots.
I believe.
But it's been
deeded as three
changed,
separate-
apparently.
It's deeded
so
as
that-
3 separate lots.
But it's been changed to a single deed.
No, it hasn't. But in that deed, it shows it as 3 separate lots. So the deed shows 3 separate lots.
So this is an interesting question, because it sort of
Yeah.
goes to your language, David, it's just like any lot legally in existence. So it
Right.
almost begs the question, what does legally in
Which,
existence?
I know what that
Yeah.
is.
Does that mean it was subdivided, or just the way the deed
If
divided?
it's a subdivision that predates Act 250, which would be 1969,
Uh-huh.
that it can be any size, but if
It's
it's
not a
post 250, it has to follow the rate. I believe this is what Brad told you about that lot I showed you that time. Remember that one?
Yeah.
He said if it's not 10 acres, you can't build on it anyway. So, it's,
Yeah.
it's fuzzy.
Yeah,
You get- it
I
depends
don't
on
know
who
what
you
you're
ask.
talking about with that. I think that might be a separate situation. 10-acre lot would be a lot that's already, we're talking about non-conforming lots.
Yeah, but this
Non-conforming lots in 10-acre zoning.
was supposedly 10 acres, but if it was 9 acres, it couldn't be built on.
Who says?
That's what Brad told us.
It's pre-existing.
But it was post Act 250, which somebody's different.
I think Brad doesn't know what he's talking about.
I do, but I do remember the conversation.
Yeah,
I
so
don't think Act 250 fits into that.
well, you'd have to ask somebody who knows, but that's what
Yeah,
I
Brad?
was told, and I.
So this is a good question for Brad.
Brad's not a zoning administrator?
The question, if I understand it correctly, is, sorry, just thinking out loud. The question for purposes of this is, what makes a lot, really? Does it mean that it was already subdivided, or is it just, it can be described in the deed?
Well, I think that's it. I think describes your situation. That's a lot, basically, that is described. And,
The deed describes it as 3 lots, and it even has a survey. So it's 3 lots with a survey.
yeah.
So the question for Brad is, do we need to address that?
Okay.
I
or
think
is
so.
that just-
I
or
think we
you
need to
just
make it-
write in?
No, I'm just trying to make it clear, because
Yeah.
you and I have had this conversation. You kind of said, too bad, there was
Well,
one
I
lot.
didn't
And I'm like,
understand exactly the situation.
so that's my question.
Yeah, right.
I
Maybe
believe
it
it should
does.
be 3 lots, basically.
I do
because
too.
because
Because
that's,
it's deeded that way.
yeah.
Yeah,
But it does have to have water sewer.
right. I think you're right. I think they would be separate.
No, I think
basically.
our plans actually say no. I think,
See,
Was the
you
deed-
bought them before.
And the survey preceding Act 250?
Probably.
yeah.
That was way
Act
longer.
250
Okay.
doesn't.
No, I mean,
And
that
Act
has nothing
250
to, no, mine has nothing to do with Act 250. That you're
Yeah.
talking about a
Different
different.
thing, that's a
situation.
different
Yeah,
situation.
mine had nothing to do with Act 250.
I am gonna ask Brad this.
Well, I think yours
I would-
can be 3 separate lots, actually. You know, it's,
Pre-existing.
you bought it before 2011.
Yeah,
And you
1993.
bought it as 3 lots, basically, which were subdivided there. So your
they were actually pre-existing.
investment expectations were
Yeah.
that it were 3 lots.
Yeah.
And you can't change zoning to eliminate that.
I
Wait,
don't
but
think,
they were
After the fact.
They were
No
way
subdivision.
You're
They
saying
were
they
3
subdivided.
no, they were never, I don't know that they were ever subdivided. I haven't gone back that far. What I do know is that we acquired them
In
as
one
3
deed,
in one deed as 3 separate lots.
3 lots, but at some point, to what David's saying, they must have been.
No, I think they were always just 3
You think they
separate
were always
lots.
3 separate
And
lots?
they
in
just
one
combined them, yeah.
They combine it for tax. Or if they
No,
don't-
I think that, no, the deed combined them. The deed shows 3 separate
deed?
lots.
So I think I'll just ask it this way. Is a lot, a lot that was already been subdivided, or what if the deed just describes 3 lots in one deed? For example, lease situation, because Brad might even be familiar.
No, he's not.
Or you
But,
can look it up.
but Brad, be careful, because Brad is not the zoning administrator or.
No, I know, but we
yeah.
don't.
You don't have anybody else to ask.
I
Maybe we'll
understand,
have
but-
them soon,
But it is in the regs, that's what I'm telling you, is because we've
That's
gone
the
through this.
Supreme Court decision back around 1980. Grand Central Station defined the investment-backed expectations. You buy a property that is okay for a subdividing like that, and then people come in afterwards, or the town comes in afterwards, changes the zoning and
Right.
eliminates it.
Right.
It ruins your investment-backed expectations. You bought it with the expectations of that, and it was okay at the time you bought it.
Now, in all
To do that.
fairness,
That's
in all
pretty good, David.
fairness, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is very good. In all fairness, our lot probably could never hold the other lots probably will never
Yeah.
hold a septic system. So I'm
But it's
using
more-
this,
Don't never say never,
it's
Lee.
just
Well,
an
you know,
example,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
an example.
But if you had,
Probably, I said.
if you had rights to one of the lots for the other ones, or a joint septic system,
Right.
that sort of a thing.
So I'll change the question to
It would.
say, we're assuming that a lot also refers to this situation. We should just flag this for the town lawyer when we send it off in case he thinks we need to adjust the language at all.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
That'll
because,
be the,
yeah, the lawyer will know the answer too, right? I mean, that's,
I guess. He also owes us, write this down.
Maybe.
We don't know where we are in the other two things we sent off to the town lawyer already, which is ADUs and, why am I blanking? Last thing we did, David. How am I blanking on?
the
The last
setback,
thing you spent all your time on setbacks.
yeah.
All right.
ADU setbacks.
Yeah.
All right, David, you wanna?
Okay, so, well, so basically, have you all read this, basically? See what it is?
I did not because my
Okay.
computer wouldn't let me.
Oh, okay.
Darn computer. Oh, it's.
All right, so
it's
I'll just read through it and maybe say a few.
It's because you sent it in Pages the first time, not Microsoft Word.
It is Pages, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had
you
to
have a Mac.
convert it to Microsoft Word for a minute.
Yeah.
You got a
All right,
Mac?
My,
I don't have pages. Just have one.
yeah.
You ought to get it.
Microsoft.
You ought to get a Mac.
He has a
It's
Mac.
easier for old
I'll
people.
do that tomorrow.
Roy, no one entertain Roy. We're trying to take us off track again. We're not talking about Mac computers. Stay good.
Oh, my. Oh,
All right, so we'll start off. Basically, I've eliminated A,
I
part
have the
A.
answer to the questions that we do have in our regs. It says,
Oh, so I don't have to ask.
no, the lots shall not be deemed merged and may be separately conveyed if all of the following are found. The lots are conveyed in their pre-existing non-conforming configuration, and on the effective date of these regulations, each lot had been developed with a water supply and wastewater disposal system.
Oh, so you,
But that's confusing and indicating you've already got systems, basically.
That's exactly what it says.
That's what it says, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm eliminating.
Yeah, David's deleting.
That's what I deleted, basically, because that's not really.
That's why I'm
the,
asking the question.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
exactly
Okay, so we
right.
deleted A
We got
entirely, and now we've got this new section of A that I put together here. And
38.
so I'll just read through it. So any lot legally in existence before the effective date of the regulations, March 2nd, 2011, may be developed or sold as a developable lot if it conforms to the following conditions. So the lot has continued in the same configuration as described in the deed in existence before the effective date. Originally it was configuration and it got a little confusing. I thought, if we include in that as described in the deed.
I think that's better, yeah.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean, that it got
Hmm?
divided at some point
What?
after, what would violate that? That the lot got divided at some point after 2011?
No, if we're talking about a non-conforming lot.
Yeah, I'm just curious, what would happen to violate A1? Like, what's a situation where you would violate A1? What would have happened to the lot? See what I'm saying? I'm just trying to
No, because-
understand the situation in which.
a property line adjustment?
Oh, like a property line adjustment, that's a
Good
good
one,
one.
Roy.
So if you did a property line adjustment, you would no
Close the
longer.
guess.
Okay.
No. It's described in the deed, basically.
Okay.
So there would be there would be adjustments, basically, in the real surveyed output. But the description of the lot is
Got
the
it.
main thing, basically,
Okay.
even if it's incorrect.
Okay,
But that's what you're going with, and that's what was sold, and that's what the guy's been
got it.
person,
Okay,
owners
got
are
it.
living with.
Got
So, okay, so the lot has to be 1 acre or 1/8 of it. The lot is not less than 1/8 of an acre. You can develop it if it's more than that. The minimum width or depth is not less than 40 feet. Both of those conditions come from the state regs, and they seem reasonable.
There's no way you could actually build on that anyway.
Yeah.
With the setbacks.
Yeah.
It'd be tiny.
2 foot house.
Even 40 feet in width is pretty restrictive.
Yeah.
Why don't we mention that a little bit? If it is just 40 feet, you could build a house within that 40 feet. Well, you've got setbacks on both
Yeah,
sides,
there's
which might be
setbacks.
20 feet or it might be more.
Mm.
What happens then? Well, then you go down to what is it? It's receiving a
Waiver.
waiver or
But they can only waive up to half the distance.
well, that goes
Right.
down to part C, actually, the number C. The Development Review Board may reduce applicable minimum district, surface water, and wetland setback requirements by no more than 50%, subject to conditional use review under section 5.4 and waiver provisions under section 5.1, as necessary to allow for development of a pre-existing non-conforming lot. If the DRB determines that the lots cannot otherwise be developed in conformance with these regulations, any further reduction requires a variance approval. So there are ways to work with, even 40 feet, basically.
So the town can alter the setback for the wetlands, because then it goes through the state?
Yes,
Depends what-
well-
Except for class, what's the highest one? Class 1?
Yeah, that's
Class
right.
3, Class 1.
yeah, and class
State
2
has
also
setbacks.
has some leeways in it.
Yeah, wetlands permits, they're called.
Yeah, yeah. So it's and anyway, when we say in our regs 50%, we're already twice what the state requires. So
Right.
that brings it down to
For
the
the
state
waiver.
level.
50%.
That's not a waiver. That's let's see, that's the Development Review Board reducing it during a conditional use
Oh,
review.
okay, yeah.
A waiver would be a bigger allowance that, if the conditional use allows for a 50% reduction. If you're still caught and can't work with a 50% reduction, then you go for a waiver.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the minimum width or depth not less than 40 feet. 4, the lot has potable water and sufficient wastewater capacity to meet state approval or the right to connect to a common system.
I have one question here, David.
Yep.
Which is, do we need some language, one of you all might know this, that sort of says like a common system that meets all state regulations? That's not the right thing, but do we need it so that if you want to connect it to your septic system has to be compliant, right? Like you can't hook up to like a
Yeah, right.
Well, if you came in for a
Yeah.
building,
cranky, falling apart septic system.
if you came in for a building permit, you would have to
You would have to do that.
make sure that
Okay.
what you were built met the state
Yeah.
or the town's requirements.
Got it, okay.
So,
I think so. I don't think it's, there's a, an escape hatch here.
That's what I was wondering, yeah. Okay.
At first, we had originally just a lot has potable water and sufficient wastewater capacity. But then I was thinking, well, suppose if somebody has a 1,000-gallon tank that's pumped when necessary, that's sufficient capacity.
That's only the tank.
That's
That
who
has
does-
nothing to do with the capacity of the system.
The field.
The field is how it's determined. It's determined by how many bedrooms in a house. 2 persons
But
per
the language
bedroom,
would say
140.
capacity.
So
The
capacity
no,
would
wait.
be
Yeah.
how many bedrooms it was built for. Capacity has nothing to do with the size of the tank.
No, what I'm saying is somebody would come in and say, it says here sufficient wastewater capacity. I'm just going to pump it to or run it into a 1,000-gallon tank, and then I'll call in somebody to pump it out whenever it's needed.
you can't do that,
You
though.
can't do that, though. It's not state
Well, I wanted to
regulation.
make sure
Okay.
Yeah.
that wouldn't happen, so I added to meet state approval.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, maybe that's not necessary, but it's not a lot of verbiage.
I think it reads nicely.
It's okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's clear.
I'm not sure there's a separation requirement for a well to the septic system.
Yeah, there is.
Is
It
that-
has to be 50 feet from the
is that-
septic tank.
Is that part of the state permit? that it
Yes.
needs to be shown?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And it depends if it's a drilled well or a dug well or a spring, then the isolation distance is much larger.
Right. So that would be a little more challenging on a small lot.
Oh, well, yeah, it depends on what's around it, right?
But but with small lots, then I think there is some leeway also on the setbacks requirements.
Not when wells and septics, I don't know of any.
I hope not.
I don't think so.
Sounds gross.
Well, okay, maybe I'm thinking of, it's a knotty issue in some respects, because you have, a slope and you've got 10 lots on them, and somebody on a higher lot has a septic system, and down the lower lot, there's a water source. And I don't know, keeping track of them all is.
Well, when you go to get a building permit, you need to have a site plan that's approved by an engineer that has all the neighbors' lots on it.
Oh, okay.
And then it has a well shield protection area.
Yeah.
So that,
It's been a problem
if you have
in the past,
if you're going for a permit on one of these non-conforming lots, you have to get an engineer to do a site plan that meets all the state and town requirements.
Yeah.
And it would show the neighbor's lot over here, and here's my new septic is too close to that well, so.
So for example,
Okay.
if you have a drilled well and you have, somebody wants to put a lot next door, well, the septic system has to be at least 50 feet from that drilled well. There's an isolation zone created. However, if they have a dug well or a spring, it's a 200-foot isolation zone.
Yeah.
So that can really affect the ability for someone to put a septic system in. Yep.
Yeah. It's been a problem in the past, I know. Maybe it's covered now.
No, I think that's the case. That's how it works. That's the engineering for septic systems.
Well, I know there have been cases in the past where things haven't been followed.
Can you describe it?
No, I don't, but I do remember it coming up, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago somewhere.
4 or 5 years ago.
Maybe longer, but.
Probably longer.
Yeah. Okay, it's covered anyway.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so does that language look okay?
Yeah.
A lot has potable water and sufficient wastewater capacity to meet state approval or the right to connect to a common system. Okay.
You could say, or the right to connect to a pre-approved state approved. Oh, well, never mind. I think this is fine.
Yeah, okay. Okay, then the fifth, number 5, the development is otherwise in conformance with district regulations. Okay, now, and if it's not, then when you go into one of section C, D, or whatever.
Wait, number 5, the development is.
Yeah, if you're not in conformance with the district regulations,
Well,
you could still.
Non-conforming lot
It's
is
not in. Yeah, it's not in.
Non-conforming lot is not usually in conformance.
Right.
So
otherwise in conformance. In other words, if the
the development is otherwise in conformance with the district.
Yeah, that probably means, like, for me, that maybe means, like, you couldn't build this is a horrible example, because, like, you couldn't build a childcare in a district that doesn't, like, you're not, this isn't taking you around any other rules except the lot size.
Okay, I see.
Like, I can't put my ammunition factory
Okay.
on this.
I see what you mean.
I think that's the point.
All right.
If you do run into problems, then you've got, you've got C, which says the Development Review Board may reduce applicable minimum district surface water and wetland setback requirements and so on, which we have read. So if it's not in conformance.
What's that?
It's a model.
The class 3 buffer should be looked at. We're
3.
probably the only town in the state to regulate class 3. The Army Corps and
Water.
for class 3 wetland.
Yeah, wetland.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, we're after this, we're going to talk about.
Normally as a general permit, you can fill up to 25 or 3,500 feet of class 3
Okay,
in a general permit, but that's controlled by Army Corps.
okay, so class 3 only. Okay.
We're the only town I know of that has a buffer.
We're coming on the list after this for things to discuss, so, all right, we'll put it on. All right.
Okay. Okay, so part B. So part B, if after the effective date of regulations, March 2nd, 2011, a non-conforming lot comes under common or affiliated ownership with one or more contiguous lots, the lot shall be demerged with the contiguous lots. Is that clear? You know, if you own one non-conforming lot and it's 2012, basically, you buy another non-conforming lot, it's going to be merged with the one that you already have.
So just to use Lee as an example,
Yeah, ours were
Let's
bought in
say-
1993.
no, but let's say Lee bought, let's say the lot to the south of Ryan Quarter Road was a half acre. And Lee bought it tomorrow. And that means it would be merged into Lee's other lot.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's what the regs say. And it's
Merge
not
and never built on
And
again.
never built on it,
Okay.
right?
Well, the lot that it's merged with,
It's just subject to all the rules.
but it's all one lot at that
Right.
point.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, clear enough? Okay. Under definitions, wait a minute, is there anything else here? You know, under C.
But you can, sorry, David, but you could sell the non-conforming.
Yeah.
Who would buy it?
You sell it, but it's not developable.
Why?
You can cut some
Because
trees
it-
on it,
Well,
I don't think you can sell it.
camp on it.
Caroline?
I don't
What?
think you can sell it once it's been merged. But what most people used to do was simply not put it in the same names. They might put the husband's
Right.
name or the wife's name, so it was not quite exact. And that gave them the
But I
choice of
think now
keeping
you
it,
can't do that.
I don't,
I think
keeping it
I didn't know
undeveloped if they chose, but able to sell it if they did not.
What Carolyn's
I
saying,
didn't
I think,
understand.
is, let's say Lee's house was just in her name for some
Mhm.
reason, when she bought it, right? And she wanted to buy the half acre lot next door.
Yep.
Well, then Charlie could buy it and just put it in Charlie's
no,
name.
affiliated.
think
You've
so.
That's
got
what
the word.
Carolyn's
Okay,
saying.
the word affiliated.
Okay.
It comes under common or affiliated ownership.
Yeah.
Okay,
that
so
means,
that's
you know, your son, your daughter, your cousin, a corporation that you're a part of, anything you're affiliated with.
It gets merged.
okay, so
Yeah.
that's changed then when I was in that position. That's a huge
Okay,
Okay, I understand.
okay. Any questions about C, D, or E? We went through C, which allows for reducing minimum district, et cetera, and so on, if you've got a
He's a
problem with
little
a lot.
confusing.
E is confusing.
Yeah, I think so.
D.
E.
Wait, on page 38.
D goes on to define non-conforming lots. If you don't have frontage requirements, I thought that it looked okay to leave it as it is.
Yeah, I think we're good on C and D.
I didn't see any problems with those, basically.
Okay, so here, so you're looking at D?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't, a lot legally in existence as of the effective date. So if it doesn't have road frontage, if it's just got a right of way, it still is buildable, basically,
Yes.
right? That's what that means, because
Yes.
it doesn't, if you have a lot that's landlocked and it just has a right of way to it,
Yeah.
that would not be a building lot.
Well, it's a
Unless
non-conforming
it's
lot,
it's a non-conforming lot, so you could build.
but
on
it can be built on if it meets these conditions.
Yeah, okay,
So if it has a right of way, it's not landlocked.
right, yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have the necessary road frontage on a town road, which, is that in the road ordinance?
Hmm?
Or is that in here somewhere?
What's the question, Ray?
The road frontage,
I
Do we have, is
If
that,
you don't
in-
have the road frontage, it's non-conforming.
yeah, but is that in the regulations somewhere, the road frontage?
I think
Not
it's-
for
Well,
non-conforming.
it's a non-conforming.
Oh, but I mean for a
You just mean
conforming
in
lot.
general,
Yes.
right?
In general, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's in
general,
here somewhere.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's frontage required.
okay.
In every district.
Yeah, he is confusing. I mean, I'm sure if I sat down and thought about it.
I think it's confusing too. I had to read it like 3 times. I'm still not
You
sure what it
understand
said.
Ethan?
E here,
E.
lots
E.
established.
Okay, well, let's read it through. Lots established under an approved planned residential or planned unit development. Okay, these are, planned residential or planned unit development means you can say you've got 30 acres in a 10-acre zone. You can do 3 houses in a cluster, basically, and maybe even each one on a small lot and the rest of it commonly owned. This is a planned unit. And
Yeah, which are a few of these in town already,
Huh?
like by Carolyn's house or by Caution Casey Sill on.
That's
No,
not,
no,
that's not a
those are all
PUD.
on-
That's
those
not
are
a
all on
PRD.
Or the one
No.
up on Maple Leaf Road.
No, I
That's
think
not-
those are subdivisions. They aren't
Yeah.
PRDs or
But they-
PUDs.
But they left land open and the lots are smaller.
No,
No?
those are all regulation lots.
Yeah, they
Oh,
are.
are they really?
They're
Okay.
not, I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of
You
what
want
would have been a
you want one, you
PRD.
gotta go down Brown's Trace to where you find 3 or 4 houses, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
All in a little circle, basically.
Mhm.
And
I know-
that's a smart
we
growth
have-
situation.
I know we have a PRD or somewhere here in Underhill,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what it is.
I think they're usually
Shepherd's
ugly.
Shepherd's Way is a PUD or PRD,
No,
because not all of
Oh.
those houses have equal acreage.
no,
Hey.
they're all different. No, they're different. None of them are the same.
Yeah, but is that in
Not all of them are 5 acres.
No, they're not. Some of them are 3.
Right. So it's a PUD. It conforms to total acreage density for that subdivision.
It
Where
wouldn't
are
have been a PUD. It would have been a PRD.
Where is it?
Okay.
Shepherd's Way.
Casey's,
Shepherd's
Way's
Way,
the one across from
Shepherd's
Casey's
Ridge,
Hill.
right across from Casey's Hill. You know, the new
Oh,
lots up
Yeah,
there.
right. Yeah, I think that's just individual lots that are meet.
No,
boundaries.
Carolyn's not incorrect because it was 5 acre zoning and not all those lots are 5 acres. A couple of them are 10. Some of them are 3, some are 3.5.
And some of the smaller ones have access in some way to the larger parcels. Is that like common land? I have zero idea.
There really is no common land there.
No, there's no common land there, just different
No.
acreage.
Yeah,
Huh. Anyway, so.
Well, anyway,
in theory,
right,
you know
it's-
what
yeah,
they
it's-
say
it's
is
not,
wherever there's-
It's not something that is going to move anything here one way or another. So it's something that maybe we ought to look into and just
What
get
is it? I'm
familiar
just trying to
with.
understand what it says. Do you understand what it's saying?
Hmm?
I'm just trying to understand what it says.
E?
So I
Lots
feel like-
established.
Yeah.
E, well, it's talking about a process whereby you can set up a approved planned residential or planned unit development that do not meet minimum district dimension standards. And they won't be considered non-conforming lots. It's like what I was saying, if you've got 30 acres in a 10 acres zoned area, you can cluster the housing
Yeah.
in a way. So.
well, that's
Oh, so
And
PRD.
it won't be considered non-conforming if
That's
it
a
goes through the
PRD.
process and
That's
it's
good.
proved as that.
Oh, I get it, because that's what they're saying for subsequent mergers. Then if you bought one of those lots and then you went to buy the one next door, it's not gonna get merged into your lot.
So I think
They're
what-
independent
Yeah.
lots. Yeah.
So what this whole thing is about is the fact that it's a PRD or PUD.
Yeah, it's sort of
Right.
been signed off on
That's
by the town.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, good.
Does anyone have any questions on this? If not,
Well, we've
Or
got
any
one, we gotta
changes?
continue.
oh,
further.
sorry, contiguous lands.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there's
Sorry,
under
sorry, sorry.
definition, contiguous land. So the definition of contiguous land,
Page 194.
yeah,
So this is the
194. So I took out the 2 words "or point," a connection between 2 lots of a single point, which would be like a diamond on either end.
Mhm.
points do not have a dimension.
Where are you at on this,
geometrically.
David? Where are you at on this?
Page 194.
I got that.
Contiguous land.
He's saying.
Okay, a
the
parcel
here,
of
okay.
land, all right, this is it. A parcel of land contained within a single unbroken parcel boundary, or two or more parcels which share a common parcel boundary or point. Brad pointed out that if you just have, a diamond point of two properties touching one another, that's not really, it seems crazy to make that contiguous, contiguous land. You don't have crossing access or, it just doesn't seem to work. And I agree. So I thought we'd take that out. The point in geometry has no dimension, so.
What are you taking out?
Or point. So
Delete-
right after
literally delete
boundary,
These two words, or point.
take out or point. It's where they share a common parcel boundary or point.
So now they have to share a common boundary. They can't just meet in one point.
Right. And I included in front of parcel, after the word common, measurable, a common measurable parcel boundary, just to make sure that somebody doesn't come in and say, well, a common parcel boundary includes a point, even though it's not mentioned. So we take out point and have a measurable parcel boundary. That seem okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. You okay with that, Lee?
I'm
You got
still trying to read it. I can't, I think the wording's confusing. I don't know what's existing.
Story of my life.
What's that?
Too wordy.
Okay.
Too not simple enough.
Yeah, I'd have to read that like 5 times.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that wording that you want to do, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then in the second sentence, now this also came from Brad somewhat, where he was talking about the division of property by a state or town highway. And when you have, a piece of a land on one side and another on the other side, they would be considered merged if they were non-conforming and purchased after 2011. But you can't really enjoy the use of a land across, say, Route 15 or something. It seems kind of nuts to have a little piece of your land over there and your house on the other side, and yet consider them to be merged. So to try and get away from that, I've just put in here where one or more existing private road rights-of-way bisect an existing parcel. And I'm just limiting it to private roads, not all roads.
Okay, that's like
Yep.
Robert Lane.
The rights-of-way may be considered a boundary dividing the parcel into two or more lots, only if all portions of the parcel divided by the rights-of-way meet the minimum lot size required for the district in which they are located.
Huh.
So if you, so I think I understand that. So if you have a lot across the street
Yeah.
and it's 1 acre, but you're in the 3-acre district,
Right.
you can't build on it. Is that right? Is that how you read
Unless
that?
it's a
If
pre-existing
it's, yeah,
non-conforming lot.
Yeah, but what if you bought it? When you bought your house and and the lot across the street was part of that purchase. Is
Yeah,
that,
all at the same time. Walbrook Lane divides them, but that's a private road.
oh, but if it was like
Town road, that'd be
Pleasant
different.
Valley Road or,
That'd be different. But the
Yeah.
town of
Right.
Underhill doesn't always look at it that way. They're supposed to, but they don't.
that what?
Town highway, so here's an example I can give. This was a piece of land, I think it was in South Burlington, close to Heinsberg.
Mhm.
And the argument was that it needed to go through Act 250, or the subdivision had been through an Act 250, and the argument was, no, this is a state highway. It's We didn't subdivide the land, the state subdivided the land. We now have two separate parcels. And because it's two separate parcels, it didn't enact Act 250. So they couldn't, the town tried to keep them and try to make them go into subdivision, and they went with a lawyer, and they were like, no, state subdivides our property, it's subdivided.
Yeah,
So,
good point.
So basically, like
That's
I
what
can
we're
think
trying
of
to
3 or
follow.
4 lots in town, like where Boris lives. Boris, you have a lot that is across the road too, right, from your house?
Yeah, and I was just thinking about that. Yeah. We have, can you hear?
Just pretend that was buildable.
Okay.
How big is that?
Yeah, that's probably, I don't know, a couple acres maybe.
So
Yeah,
could he
so,
build it? Because it's like, what district are you in? Like the 5 acre or 10? I don't even know, the mountain road.
I
You're on
believe it's
Mountain
10.
Road?
Yeah. Yes.
so you have a lot on both sides of Mountain Road?
Yeah, so our lot is triangle shaped, like pie shaped lot, and the 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 tip of the pie is across Mountain Road, and the point touches Browns River. So, um, and that way all when we bought that, it all came as one lot, obviously, even though it's divided by the road. So,
How
I don't
much-
know.
Huh.
Well, so this would say that if the town highway divides it, that there are 2 lots, basically.
So if it's a non-conforming lot,
There could be a
Theoretically, he could
non-conforming
build
lot
on it.
that could be developed.
yeah, so I can think of other
Yeah,
houses in town that have that. So that
Mhm.
would be like, he probably couldn't build on it because it's steep and
Yeah,
not really buildable. But if it were, he could get a permit, go through the process and get a permit.
And we're saying that's the current rule. The
Yeah.
way it's already written, just
Well, the
again,
current-
just to
the
use
current
Boris
rule-
as an example,
yeah.
irrespective of whether he wants to or could build on it.
Right, yeah.
Under the current rules, Boris could
Mhm.
could not build on it.
No,
That's
he
correct.
could.
No.
No, under the
This is
current
where I'm
rule,
confused. Under the current rule, what's? he
under the
cannot-
current rule, it's 1 lot, basically. It's
It's one
merged, basically. It's together.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are we changing that?
Yeah,
anyway?
but this is
That sentence was
a
making me
suggestion,
mad.
right? A suggestion that.
I agree.
maybe
It's a bad sentence.
Yeah. It may need more thought, basically. It may
Yeah.
need more investigation on this, Like the lot that's subdivided by the town there, there were originally 1 lot, I presume, or was it, were they separate lots and then put together?
Say that again from the beginning, sorry,
Yeah,
I'm still looking at this.
yeah, for Boris's situation, was that all 1 land, basically? Or were they put together after some time?
Let's say
I bet it was all one because it was.
Yeah. It's all one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let's just say it was all one
yeah,
for purposes of this example. And
right. So if it was all 1, then,
It would have to meet
What
the
we're saying
minimum
here-
lot size requirement.
On the other
According-
side of Mountain Road.
That's correct, that's what the town is saying. What the state says is different.
that's what the town is saying. And this
Yeah,
is,
correct.
this is what it's saying here, existing road right of ways bisect, but I'm putting private road in there, saying that, well, okay, state and town highway
Oh, so that's.
will be subdividing it.
So you're saying if.
Maybe
again,
we should
just
do
to
that.
use-
I'm
Just
trying
to use Boris.
Yeah.
So for Boris, this change would mean that
You'd have 2 lots.
non-conforming piece on the other side, we're imagining it's totally buildable.
Yep.
Boris could then build on it because that is not a private road, it's a public road.
Right.
Whereas if Boris had put a private road through the middle of it, was like,
So that would be my land,
well-
that would be my land. Walbrook Lane is a private
so yours would
road.
not
Yeah.
count.
That's
under
right,
this.
it would
Got
not.
it, okay.
Yeah, and the reason for putting private in there, I thought, if somebody owns a big parcel of land and nothing start manipulating
Well, it's
where
kind
to
of
put
a
the
big
road and
vehicle.
so on, and maybe run 2 roads, maybe
It
run
has to be
another
a
road,
town
several
road.
roads.
It has to be a
Cut
town
everything
road.
up into lots of little snippets.
But even the state regulation says town road. It
Yeah, I know,
state road.
but I'm,
Doesn't
yeah,
say
I know,
private road.
I know.
State.
I'm putting private in here in order to avoid the situation where a private owner could start manipulating the size of lots by the way he runs his private roads through his
But
lot.
based on our regulations, it would have had to been existed before 2011. So he would have had to have done that before 2011.
I guess so, but
I think you're
don't
overworrying
know.
that
I
part.
mean,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
do
know.
too.
You know, somebody might have the property and then run the road.
They
You
would
know,
have
with
had
an
to have done
idea.
it before 2011.
No.
Yeah, that's what the regs say.
No, wait a minute. No, the lot is big enough, basically. And it's oversized, perhaps. So he puts a house in the back somewhere, runs a road through it. He sees the way the land it works out. You know, if I run the road this way, I can get 3 lots here, and I can get 4
I don't
lots
think that's
over
an
here.
issue, because it would have to be,
It
it
may be
sounds
a
like a
little-
driveway you're talking about to me.
Yeah, no, that's not a road. That's a driveway.
Private
And besides
road.
that, okay, you want to put the word private in there, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But the regulation is state road, state highway.
Yeah.
Private roads got nothing to do with it. The regulation is state highways.
No, but I'm saying a private owner puts the private road where he wants it.
That's what I'm saying, but it's not a state highway, is it? Not a state highway.
But I'm
Private
saying-
owner, let's
That's why I
say,
put private in here.
okay, but the regulation, as it's written,
Yeah.
is only state highways.
I think you guys are saying the same thing.
No,
though.
the
Forget-
regulations as it's written includes all of them.
Yeah,
basically.
David has to put private in here to accomplish what he's trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I'm
He wants to make
limiting
clear
it
that
to
it is
private.
not a
I'm
This says
okay, I'm
everything.
okay with private, I said that.
Yeah,
I
he's
think you're
gotta-
overthinking it.
He's got to put it in though to make it work.
No, I think there's some issues here. I think you're getting it, but you know, if you think about these things a bit, and you think, well, you know, as a private owner of a large piece of land, say, or something, you know, you could figure out ways to.
But aside from that,
See,
David,
the
don't you?
private owner has that option, you know, a town or a state highway. There it is. That's it. Period.
But David, don't you have to, aside from your example about
Yep.
someone putting in private roads, you have to put the word private in to carve out the public roads, which is your point, right? Like you're trying to carve the town highways out of this provision.
Yeah,
Isn't that your entire?
that's what I was thinking about.
That's your main point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
He has
it's
to
up
put
for
it in
it's up
for
for
his
it's
main
up for a question, and it's a discussion, because I'm not so sure it's a good idea. So
And what's a good idea?
To put the word
taking
private
out
in.
the state and
Yeah,
town
because if we
highway.
put the word
I'm not
private
sure it's a
in,
good idea. I just
How do people feel about that?
Oh, what do you mean taking out
I
the
think it needs to be
state
looked
and-
into.
By David putting the word private in here, aside from his example about a big landowner and private
Yeah,
roads,
yeah.
that's, I get what you're thinking,
Yeah.
like with pushing off to the side for a second. By putting in the word private, the main thing he accomplishes is allows Boris, again, just picking on Boris,
Mhm.
is allows Boris to develop that non-conforming lot on the
Yeah.
other side of the road.
Right. And I'm kind of following from Brad's suggestion, which was a little off the cuff also, you know, and so it hasn't been thought through clearly.
He's
So-
created 2 categories in essence. He's created any lot that's been divided by a public road.
Mhm.
Now, that non-conforming piece on the other side, automatically developable.
Mhm.
Whereas anything that's been bisected by a private road is still not, like Walmart.
Right.
But David
Yeah.
is making a
Right.
substantive change.
Yeah,
I'm getting
it
it
is.
now.
Yeah.
David is making a substantive change here that, like in this exact example, again, just picking on Boris and Lee, because neither one of them want to do this. It would allow Boris to develop, and it would allow Lee not to, it would not allow Lee to.
I agree, because there are private roads in town. Now that I'm thinking about it, you ride around, you see a named road. It has a name because there's more than one house on it, like Acer Ridge, or where there's couple on.
That's a 911 thing. You have to name the roads if there's more than one house on it, right?
Yeah, so
But
it's a
that's
private road,
private
though.
road.
So that's an example, and then a private road has to be a certain width. If there are 3 units on it, basically, it has to be 20 feet wide versus versus two houses is 14 feet wide and one house it's 12 feet wide. So there are regulations for roads, but those are all private roads.
All private roads.
So that can't be.
That's correct.
Yeah, it is kind of it's not like it's a massive change, but it's a change. It benefits people who are on a public road and have a non-conforming lot on one side, and it doesn't benefit people on a private road of a non-conforming lot.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is anyway.
And you're saying that's what the state law
That
already
is the state law,
says.
right.
Yeah.
So we should conform to the state laws.
Yeah, there you go.
How do you
I'd like
feel,
to see
David,
what,
as
well,
a
I don't know,
local
I'd like to
state?
see what the state law actually
You
says.
live on a private road, right?
You know, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know if there's.
Well, what if we
It's
do
all
this?
developed and it's done basically. I'm thinking about, the development process.
Yeah.
You know,
What if we do this? What if we
and,
say,
and the private owner, manipulating things to work in his advantage, which I would certainly do if I was able to.
what if we do this?
The
What if
truth
we
is out.
send this? What if we send this in as is? If everyone's cool with
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Send this in as is, including inserting the word private, David.
Mhm.
But I write a comment that says, not exactly this, something like this. We believe the change to Article 11 is conforming with state law. Like, please let us know if that's not the case, and then we can sort of debate it. But we believe this change is to conform with state law.
Yeah, okay.
That
Okay,
would
I'm just
answer
trying
the
to-
question for
Yeah,
us.
right. No,
basically.
I don't know. I can't think it through clearly.
Because if state law already says it's the case, then we ought to conform with it, right?
I don't know.
I don't know.
There may be contingencies in the state law that,
And how many of those circumstances actually exist?
Can't be too many.
Right.
that what?
How many of those circumstances actually exist in the current configuration of lots out there? And if they.
You mean across the road on a private road or public?
Well, both, really.
I can think of like three.
Which would change somebody's ability to develop something that they currently can't.
They can, yeah. They can now. They can if we change it.
Well, that's the question. Can they already do it under state law anyway, and their rights just are wrong?
Or not up to
Yes,
date with that.
They already can, I guess is a moot point. I
Mm.
think is my point was
Yeah.
if you couldn't, then why would you want to change something that was going to affect existing zoning, a 10-acre zoning, or you'd allow something to be built there that otherwise would not be.
What
Yeah.
What if, to Tim's point,
I don't know
so
whether-
what if I change my comment a little bit and say, we only want to, if people agree with this,
Mhm.
we only want to make this change if it's required by state law. If it's not required by state law, we don't want to change it. Is that how people feel?
That makes sense, because if somebody's going to pursue it legally, they're going to get what they want by the state law.
So right now, the state says you cannot build on a non-conforming lot across the street.
No, the state
You
doesn't
can.
say anything like that at
Okay.
all. What we're talking about is the state right away, state roads.
Yeah.
County,
Subdivide.
state roads, town roads.
Yeah.
If it subdivides a piece of property, they're considered
Right.
two parcels.
Okay. No,
Let's
it's-
put
yeah,
this
that's-
off till the next meeting. I want to look into this a little further and maybe get some more information.
Okay. Everyone good with
I'd
that?
like to do
Yeah.
that, basically.
All right.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm misunderstanding, sorry, just to close this up.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding the issue based on what Roy just said. So the state just says, under the state law, the state's just saying there are two different lots. It doesn't say whether you can develop it or
That's correct. It's just
So
not counting it
that's
as
still-
subdivision.
So,
not.
like personally, I think if it meets the sewer and water requirements and it's a non-conforming lot, you should be able to build on it because what good is it doing you, you know?
Mhm.
So I believe that because there aren't enough, buildable lots in town anyway. And then usually these lots are the ones that I can think of are typically like, they're not primo building lots. They're just kind of like, oh yeah, you could probably build a house there, and maybe that's a good thing because the house deserves to be in this neighborhood, I guess, because it's, I don't know if I'm making sense here, but
I'm with you.
No,
So
makes sense. Yeah,
the action point is you're going to circle back with us.
yeah, I would like to.
How much time do you want for non-conforming lots? 15 minutes? Or what
For
do you
this
think?
particular thing,
Well, this could be a
contiguous
little
land?
bit of a debate.
Huh?
Yeah, should we
Yeah.
say 20 minutes for this point?
Yeah,
This
okay.
meeting?
So we're okay with the rest of it, okay? The non-conforming lots?
How does everybody else feel about it? I don't want to be the only one.
I don't have strong feelings about this. I'd have to think about it. It seems like it applies to hardly any parcels. So
Yeah. Like probably 5 or
Yeah.
maybe more, but.
I think the state's
Well, in Mountain
encouraged
Road, there's
everything buildable, so.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's that, Boris?
just an amount on my road. So my parcel, and then there's a few several others up the road that also span the across Mountain Road over to the river. So it's kind of common over in this road anyway.
Oh, so maybe.
Yeah, I think,
So here's that says, this is in the state definition. Tracts or lots of land which are divided by state or municipal highway rights of way to surface waters with drainage areas. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, tracts of land which are acquired by their owner with the same boundaries as they are to be conveyed. No, that's not either. Subdivision. Okay, never mind. I thought I had it.
All right.
All right, so we're okay with what's done for non-conforming lots, right? Is that agreed upon? Can we say, yes, that's what we're going to go with at this point?
Is everyone good on A, B? Yeah, is everyone good on everything under non-conforming lots? We're just figuring
Yeah,
out
no,
contiguous land. Okay.
that's good.
Okay, good. So we're all
Getting a
okay.
thumbs up from Boris. So.
Good.
Yes.
That's good, basically. We're okay on
Thank you,
that.
Carolyn. Thanks, David.
I'm glad you made some progress. That was
Yeah,
excellent.
I forgot to do something at the opening meeting, so we're going to take a little sidetrack to the minutes.
Minutes, right.
Yeah, okay, so, did everyone, I circulated the October 19th minutes. Were there any questions on those minutes? Everyone was in attendance.
I
No,
wasn't there.
Lee was not, sorry, or nor was Boris, sorry, I clearly can't read, so,
But we've got a quorum.
yeah, if no comments, can we get a motion to approve the October 19th minutes?
So
Tim, second, Bart, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes. Okay, I'm gonna quickly read these because I didn't send them around and it will take 30 seconds. These are the special meeting minutes. Call to order, enter executive session. I move that the planning commission enters executive session to consider the resume of a candidate for planning and zoning administrator. Commissioner Van Winkle seconded the motion and unanimously passed. 6:12, executive session. I move that we exit executive session. Sandy seconded it, unanimously passed. I move that the planning commission recommended the candidate for the planning and zoning administration to the select board. We seconded it, it unanimously passed. I move to adjourn. We seconded it, unanimously passed. That is the sum total of the minutes from our special meeting, because it was all an executive session. So, does anyone have any question on those minutes? Because Amanda asked that we pass them tonight, if not. Can I get a motion?
Was I there?
You were there, yeah, you got in late,
I was
but
there.
you're still there.
Oh, I am. Oh, okay.
Can we get a motion to approve those minutes? November 6th, Lee, second, Roy, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody. Okay. Now Amanda will be happy that I did my job. Okay, that takes us to, I realized we talked about what we wanted to work on. Well, actually, one quick more administrative thing. Is there any reason, based on holiday schedules, that how do people feel about having a meeting? We're done for this month, so it's sort of not an issue. But our second meeting in December, just as the way the calendar works, would be on December 21st.
Say that again?
Our second December meeting would be December 21st, which is getting pretty close to Christmas. So that's why I wanted to ask, how does the group feel about having our December 21st
I won't be there.
meeting?
I won't be there.
Do most people want to do it, not do it? I mean, I think it's totally understandable if people don't want to do it. I'm not trying to persuade people to want to do it. Is there a consensus on doing it, not doing it? It's, Christmas is the following Monday. So it's the Thursday before Christmas.
I'm not going anywhere, so I don't care, but
No, I'm not, I don't know. I'd be okay with not having it.
Boris, would you like to have it or not have it?
I could go either way. I'm thinking now that I probably would say okay, but I know when the time comes I'll be too busy doing other stuff, and
Maybe we should have a Christmas party.
Should we have a Community Commission Christmas party?
Yeah.
So here's what we'll do.
Yeah, the DRB used to have Christmas parties a long time ago, right here.
So here's what we'll plan on, and then obviously as it gets closer to, no one should feel shy about saying, you know what, I don't want to do it, and then we can not have it. But I'll check in with people that Monday as usual, and maybe we can do like a 1 hour meeting or whatever, and we'll make it a Christmas party / meeting. I like where your head's at. Okay, so we'll punt for now and say maybe we'll make it a fun meeting. Or if everyone's feeling like Boris and when the time comes, they're like, yeah, I wish I would have voted no.
Yeah.
Then we won't do the meeting.
Right.
Okay, so when we were talking about what we wanted to work on, and I feel like I did not schedule enough stuff, to be frank, because Sandy has all these sort of speakers she's bringing in, but they're at irregular intervals. It's not every meeting. And David's cruising through his stuff here, so, which made me think, besides the climate change stuff, which Sandy's bringing people in on, what do we want to tackle as our next 3 or 4 sort of shorter term items so that I'm filling up the meetings and we're working on what everyone wants to work on. So the things that were mentioned already were today, wildlife corridor, cannabis, Brad with his class 3 wetland buffer thing we raised. But are there other things people want to work on in the near term? Like what do we want to spend our time on?
I wonder if there are other spots in the.
Well, I think
zoning
so,
regs.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Clarify.
we didn't even finish. Did we finish?
No,
Article
No,
3.
the other thing we could do, it's just like a longer, it's more, I'm not saying we don't do this. We could just go back to the zoning regs and start working our way through again. The thing that gives me a slight degree of hesitance about this, I don't know how you'll feel, is like working under the positive assumption that this person decided to take the job. Do we just want to wait a couple weeks until they start and they could be part of that process?
It would probably be good for them to
so.
actually learn the regulations and
As we go.
understand them better, because, he won't probably be very in tune with what it is.
So my vote might be to punt on that for
Yeah.
at least another meeting or two, and hopefully this person signs up and
Right.
can get involved.
Makes sense.
But that leaves us with, what do we want to work on? Sandy had met you all some email. Sandy has someone she wants to come in and speak at the December 7th meeting. David we gotta finish up non-conforming lots, but like, do we want to talk about cannabis?
I think that's a good subject, yeah.
Okay, what about, wildlife corridor? I'm just gonna ask Brad. What the heck-
Yeah, that'd be a good, that's a question for, like, the only reason I brought it up was because it doesn't seem like, and you could probably, Charlie would be a good one to ask this, how could they base a decision on a wildlife corridor if we haven't even done a wildlife corridor study?
I think there
It was a
probably has been. We've had conversations with guys from the state in terms of such, I'm not remembering exactly
Yeah,
what
but I
department
think-
from the state. It wasn't anyway, there's defined wildlife corridors. There are defined wildlife corridors.
Yeah, but it's not in our regulations, it should be.
Well, how about if we put this one on me? Let me at least touch base with Brad, try to educate myself a little bit, and I can circle back to the group, and then we can decide where we want to take it from there.
Right, okay.
On cannabis, is someone interested and want to take the lead on,
On what?
like what David's been doing? I don't even know what that means. Like what do we want to regulate this? I know you can't regulate. It's been so long, I don't remember I remember you can't regulate parts of the growing, but then you can regulate other parts of it. And like, is someone interested enough to try to sort of get us up to speed for 15 minutes next meeting, basically?
You mean, what are the regulations in the state in terms of marijuana?
Yeah, and what can towns regulate, or, I very much remember specifically there were some things a local town could not regulate.
Huh.
Like you were entitled to grow up to X acres or something like that outside. This seems vaguely familiar to me. But the town could regulate, like opening up a cannabis shop. There were
Right.
things you could regulate and things you couldn't regulate. Because some of it fell into like agriculture.
But even then, I think the state sets guidelines that you can't overrule.
I think that's right. This is the question. Like, I know we talked about it briefly, but I don't remember. I'm totally right out.
I couldn't be busier right now, so I'm gonna pass on taking that one up.
Does anyone have any particular?
I'm gonna
So we
pass.
need
Maybe we
somebody
should.
to actually review what the state
Yes,
allows or requires in
yes.
town.
Yeah.
So we get that down, then we can say what we want to do, basically.
Yeah.
So somebody to review that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
He's looking at you.
I I'm not organized enough, David.
Weren't we given passed out materials on
Definitely.
state regulations?
Has that
I
material.
mean, I'd be happy to go back and take those out and read it.
Could you take like 10 or 15 minutes next meeting just to like catch us up on what the rules were on that, and then we can decide what we want to do from there?
If I can't
Just
find it, then I'll let you know.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so I'll put that in for just like 10 minutes,
Okay.
just to try to catch us up. Or if you can't find anything, then we'll figure out what the next deal is. I think that's probably our next meeting. I was gonna follow up with Bart. I was gonna follow up with Brad. I'm thinking on ADUs and stuff and the setbacks that we sent over, but now I'm wondering how hard I want to push on that if we're waiting for the new zoning administrator to accept.
It'd be good if we had the zoning
I'll let
administrator be
yeah.
part of all these conversations, it seems. It's just,
Yeah.
because sometimes I feel like we're making a stab at the dark, in the
Yeah.
dark about assuming something and it actually not being
Okay.
the way
Well,
it
the
is.
new guy's not gonna know that.
Yeah, but we can at least delegate to him what we want him to research. And find
Yeah.
the- you know, tell him what he can, for the next meeting, we want him to do a little
He's got less
research
than
on
us.
it. What's that?
He's got less than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and
Right.
he's gonna be busy too.
Okay, well, I think that's our next meeting. So we've got Sandy's person, we've got non-conforming lots, and maybe cannabis.
Maybe cannabis.
So Sandy, is she working on, something preliminary to mapping, basically, as far
I
as?
think what Sandy, not to speak for Sandy, but if I remember correctly, I think what Sandy's doing right now, and we can talk about this maybe in the seventh when she's here. I don't think she is working on anything with mapping. I think what they're doing with mapping,
They hired somebody.
they hired somebody.
Yeah.
They got the money to finish it up, and some third party is working on finishing the,
Resource.
Natural resources.
natural resources inventory. That's it. Yes, thank you. So I think in the meantime, what Sandy's been doing is just trying to find experts to come in and talk to us. So, but we can circle back on that next meeting. So maybe I'll add 5 minutes for like circle back on climate change.
Climate change or mapping? Natural resources?
Well, I was just thinking everything, the mapping, but she has other speakers.
Mapping.
No,
It's getting pushed off.
well,
You've been hanging in there a long time.
No, I think
No.
I think it's happened. Let's circle back on the natural resources inventory and mapping schedule.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Just
We should be
quickly
able, yes.
go back to like the ADUs and stuff. I remember when we were originally going through the sections, there was something about ADUs in almost every section. So we
In
just
what?
need to make sure we go through the sections and correct anything that might not.
Oh,
be
all the
correct.
little details.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I actually think that might be that binder that you were writing everything in might actually be in that already.
Oh, boy, that's, I go through it, get
Find a
notes
better
basically.
date.
Well, I've wondered what the best way to do, the best way to do it is sitting down at the computer with this whole thing, going through page by page, marking it up the way Andrew did.
I think
This is
we,
a change, we'll take this out.
I think we
put that
did.
in.
We sat in a couple of meetings and we
Yeah, we
went
made-
through.
we
yeah.
We did make some
Well, we
money.
haven't
did.
done it.
Yeah.
We
I don't
haven't,
know,
no, we got directed in another way.
Yeah.
I can't
But
remember.
we have them. There's a master thing of it, and it's I gave it to Nick, and Nick gave it to Brad, so it better be sitting down there like ready to get picked back up. I mean, we'll have to refresh ourselves.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You don't remember everything we did?
No. Maybe yesterday. I'll remember today, tomorrow.
Should we take a vote as to what kind of cookies Roy's gonna bake for the December 21st?
I won't be.
You got it. Well, you're gonna make shortbread, right?
I'll make shortbread.
Yeah.
I'll put some little red sprinkles on
He's like Ted Lasso shortbread.
it. I don't know, man. Shortbread seems pretty good in the shower.
Yeah.
Anything else? Well, it's 20 after, should we?
Yes.
Should we go
Okay.
a few minutes early?
Yeah.
Great.
Someone want to make a motion to adjourn? Roy?
Yeah.
Second? Bart's in there, all in favor?
All right.
Thank you, Caroline, thank you, Boris.
Carolyn, did you
See ya.
raise your hand?